Thank you. I was not expecting that. Thank you all so much. Good evening. What a fantastic dinner and event this is tonight. Thank you so much for that nice video, and thank you very much for asking me to speak tonight. I'd like to congratulate all of the finalists that are here with us. It's a tremendous accomplishment. Thank you, SECAF, and all of the sponsors for making this evening possible. For those I haven't met, my name is Sandy Corbett. I'm a small business owner of a company called Cadence Strategic Solutions. I've been a member of SECAF for about 7 years, and I'm here to share with you my personal experience and thoughts on the importance and values SECAF has brought to our business and can have for you. To give you some background, I grew up an Army brat. My dad was in the Special Forces in the US Army. We lived internationally and moved around often, always with a P.O. box and always ready for the next move. He eventually settled into a role at the Pentagon as our family put our roots down in Fairfax County. A pivotal time for me, personally and professionally, as I'm sure for most of you in the room, was in September 2001. I'll never forget the fear that I felt that morning and the gravity of what was taking place when the plane hit the Pentagon, where my dad worked. He happened to be away on a trip that day, but tracking him down and knowing he was okay was my first focus. At the same time, this tragic event planted a seed, and I knew I wanted to do something more and contribute toward strengthening our national security. I've spent the past 20 years working in the defense contracting industry, assuming multiple roles for a number of mostly small businesses. Each of these small firms eventually grew and was acquired by a larger one. It was a fantastic experience to be a part of each one, and it taught me a lot about the good and not so good parts about running a business in our industry. So fast forward to 2009. I convinced my dad out of retirement to join me in launching a new business. At this time, I was a 34-year-old wife and mother of 3 young children, ages 2, 5, and 7 years old. I had my hands full, but I was ready. My husband Jeff and I had saved up enough funds to go without a salary for a little over a year, which allowed me to take the leap and launch the business and give it my best shot. Initially, the business didn't have a line of credit, we didn't have investors, and didn't have immediate business lined up. Just a patriotic idea, a little bit of money, and a tremendous amount of willpower and work ethic. That same year, we were fortunate enough to build up a couple of subcontracts and a small prime effort. We very soon needed to begin implementing some of the many compliance programs and tools necessary to stay above board as a government contractor. There is so much that goes into being an established and successful government contracting business. Everything from DCAA-approved accounting systems, establishing and maintaining facility security clearances, finding office space, lines of credit, legal advice, managing intellectual property, OFCCP compliance, applicant tracking, online timekeeping, preparing for audits, business development, proposals, recruiting, contract management. The list goes on, and you all know what I'm talking about. So one day in 2010, we made the decision to join SECAF, not really knowing and understanding much about the organization initially. We were pleasantly surprised to see and meet other companies very similar to ours. With all of the networking options in the area, it was the first time since the start of the business that we found a concentration of companies with very similar challenges of running a small business, where we could relate on many levels, share war stories, and lean on each other. Also, the topics covered at most of the SECAF events we attended were always pertinent and in sync with our greatest concerns as a small business owner. Topics such as working with small business offices, setting up advisory boards, banking and funding options, marketplace tools tailored for growing companies, how to manage compliance issues, and things to know about M&A opportunities, and so much more. These were all of the critical areas we were exploring and learning within our own business as we strive to grow and mature. Just as importantly, we were also able to meet with some amazing people and companies that were more established, where we could compare notes and gain advice and hopefully not repeat the same mistakes already learned by others in this great organization. We met some top-notch service providers, focused and experienced within the government GovCon working space as well. For the next few years, the business was growing steadily, and operations were running as smooth as could be expected amidst LPTA, government shutdowns, and sequestration. So one day, in the spring of 2014, I was running my business, shuttling my kids around and enjoying the hectic lifestyle that comes with it. I was visiting my doctor and running some routine tests, and I was shocked to learn that I was being diagnosed with an early stage of breast cancer. I was absolutely devastated and almost fell to the floor when I heard the news. My whole world stopped as I was sitting in my car, and I thought to myself, this can't be right. I'm healthy, I don't have any symptoms, I'm busy, I have too much going on, and I can't deal with this right now. It just has to be a mistake. My doctors let me know that this was very serious, and it was an aggressive, fast-growing type of cancer. I started to seriously think for the first time about what would I do if I died soon. What would happen to my kids, to my family, to my home, and to my family at Encadence? What would I do about Encadence? Over the next month, I was inundated with appointments and several procedures as I prepared for the major procedure. It was absolutely the scariest thing I've ever faced, and it put a lot of things into very clear perspective for me. One thing I learned is you'll never forget who comes to your side when you need it the most, or are in a time of crisis. I received overwhelming support from my husband, family, friends, neighbors, and colleagues. As it came to the business, it was amazing the people who reached out to see if there was anything that I needed. The team at Encadence immediately and fiercely came together and let me know that they would keep things moving forward and hold down the fort while I took care of myself. I'll never, ever forget about Mark Moore, Scott Bresler, our accountant, Mark was our banker, Scott's our accountant, reaching out and assuring me that they were going to do everything they could to work with my leadership team and keep things moving and on track while I was out. And for me to know that they had my back. Several others from the SECAF board, Shiv, Quasi, Reggie, Kathy Alvarado, Cameron Hamilton, Fran Craig, Sue Evans, so many others, many of whom are in this room tonight, reached out with words of encouragement, support, and questions about how they could help. All of a sudden, it felt like I had an army behind me and that I was going to get through this. A large part of the support group came directly from my involvement with SECAF. This is what truly got me through, allowed me to focus on my health and my family, and gave me the reassurance that my business would continue to move forward. Today, my health and Encadence have never been stronger. And I share this personal story with you because I know that every one of us in this room has our own challenges and full lives. But none of us can build a thriving business all on our own, especially an emerging small business. We need great teams, strong partnerships with industry and government, and most importantly, long-lasting relationships that you can depend on. This was key in my case, as it made all the difference in the world to have the network and support to pull me through, eventually stronger than before. As a small business owner, the one thing you never have enough of is time. And there are so many great organizations you can belong to and work with. I have found that SECAF is different from the others as it focused completely on your success by allowing those that have succeeded to share their lessons learned. But as with all things in life, in order to get the most out of this great organization, the trick is you have to get involved. As busy as you are, make a little bit of time to do something extra. At SECAF, you can join a committee, get involved in programs, webinars, gala planning. The opportunities are endless. It does require an investment of your time, but the return on this type of investment is immeasurable. I hope that each of you will take full advantage of the caliber of resources and potential partnerships and the extraordinary group of people that are here tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck to all of the finalists here tonight. You have so much to be proud of. I hope you enjoy every minute of this evening. Thank you.